Today we celebrate the feast of St. Francis Xavier. To talk about St. Francis Xavier and meditate on his life and holiness, we should ask ourselves some questions. Why was he defined as a great missionary of the modern time? Consequently, patron of the missions with St. Teresa of Little Jesus. What do his life and his holiness mean for us? Today, in our missionary spirituality, praxis, and journey, we can answer these questions looking at his life and his biography. St. Francis Xavier, a man of prayer. The author who wrote about his life have defined him as a man of intense prayer. He used to spend long time in prayer and often even night time after a very busy day of apostolate. A witness wrote about him. During the day, he entirely belonged to God. During the night, he entirely belonged to God. In his apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, Pope Francis highlights the importance of prayer in the life of a missionary. The prayer is the strength of the missionary, a source where he renews his strengths and energies. He says, without prolonged moments of adoration, of prayerful encounter with the Word, of sincere conversation with the Lord, our work easily becomes meaningless. We lose energy as a result of weariness and difficulties, and our fervor dies out. In the letter of the program of the General Direction for the 6 years term, we wrote, the quality of our missionary life depends a great deal on the intensity and the quality of our prayer life. Without such a prayer life, our being Christian is emptied of what makes us truly Christian. The more wood we throw on the fire, the more it gives light and heat. The less we throw on the fire, the more we are impoverished. St. Francis Xavier is well known as a man of great desire and zeal. Despite of the difficulties he faced, he stood free and courageously before the powerful. His strong desire and zeal always brought him to go ahead, to take the risk, to explore new apostolic fields, where he knew that Christ was not yet announced. This great desire brought him to dare the impossible. It was the same desire that brought him to Japan, in the Malaysia, in China, being aware of all the challenges that he would have faced, but putting his trust in God. We can ask ourselves, how did this zealous missionary manage to visit different countries with the means of transport of that time? How it comes that in 11 years he was able to found many Christian communities that are still existing unity today. St. Francis Xavier, a man of profound relationships and attentive to people, of direct contact and friendship, open to different culture, context, and willing to learn from experience and to develop his own judgments. Looking at St. Francis Xavier's life, we can say that he was impelled by God's love. Once one has done the experience of Christ's love, he cannot remain indifferent. But this experience brings him towards others. The true experience of Christ's love produces in our heart a certain discomfort and dissatisfaction that does not give peace of mind as long as it is not yet announced and shared with others who have not experienced it yet. There is a saying in my culture, what touches the heart makes walk the feet early in the morning. Love is not at end in itself. A love that is not communicated, shared, remains fruitless and meaningless. Without love, our life, faith, and ministry has no meaning. Holiness of St. Francis Xavier is a love story, burning hearts of love for God that expresses itself in the love for others. The love for God and passion for the humanity are the force, the reason, the origin, and the secret of their holiness and missionary vocation. We now understand how much was decisive Christ experienced in his own life and apostolic ministry. Saint Francis Xavier is a model and the patron of the missions, but the time had changed as the missionary approach as well. He mistake thinking that we have the repeat today Saint Francis Xavier's style of mission, but the need to meet the true God, to know Him as Jesus has revealed Him to us is still relevant and has not changed. The availability to welcome Him did not change, even the gospel did not change. Celebrating Saint Francis Xavier on this day, we ask the grace to rejuvenate in our love for Christ and in our passion for His mission and people in order to be faithful instruments and authentic witnesses of the gospel that we proclaim, following the example of Saint Francis Xavier. Through his intercession, let us ask God, God bless us that missionary zeal, that we may share God's love to everyone, whomever we meet in our world today.